I've worked with multiple different roofing companies doing more than 40 to $50 million in annual revenue every single year. And here's the number one reason these guys are so successful in their markets. They beat everybody else in sales, and they actually continue to grow year over year, and they don't get beat up by the other companies. And as simple as it may sound, the number one reason is their branding. See, here's the reality. Roofing is a commodity, all right? There's a ton of contractors out there, and really the only thing that would differentiate you from somebody else is who you are and what your company stands for, which again leads back to your brand. And so the reason these guys are so successful is because they've managed to build a strong name in their community. People respect them and everybody knows them, and that's why they continue to grow, right? Because of their strong brand. Sounds simple, I know. Now, if you guys are new here, my name is Asadi. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Roof Ignite. What we do is we help roofers doing more than 2.5 million a year or more scale past multiple seven figures, get to the 8-figure mark. And I would say we're fairly qualified to speak on this topic because of the amount of clients we've helped actually break past $40 million and get to like $45 million. Now, I'm not saying our system's magical. I'm just saying I have these insights and I want to share them with you. Today, I really wanted to go over 7 points that I believe makes branding the number one reason of why these companies continue to scale past $40 to $50 million and get to that $100 million mark. Seriously, it is the strongest thing, and here's the 7 reasons. Reason number 1 is branding essentially creates instant trust, and it pretty much closes more deals for you. Homeowners buy from the roofers they trust can get them the best results. And if you have a strong brand, before they even call you, you're essentially establishing authority and you're increasing your odds that the deals will actually close versus somebody who has no branding and doesn't exist. Another thing I want to add to this is that when a brand looks premium and it looks clean, it has a nice website, there's people on their website, I can see faces of customers, customer testimonials, etc. It essentially pushes the customers to want to make a decision to actually work with you, which ultimately means your sales is going to be easier. And in their head, it also communicates the fact that the quality of the work that you guys do actually matches that premium website, that nice branding and the customer testimonials, the high quality customer testimonials, etc. Now, in my experience in very competitive markets like Florida, price is always beaten by trust, right? And here's the thing people don't realize. Most of these big companies making a lot of money are charging more than the cheapest guy. They're charging way more, but they're still making more money. They're usually charging 10 to 30% more. So the question becomes, why are they, like, how are they able to continue to charge more and still get customers? Well, it's because they built such a strong brand that makes people trust them. And so ultimately people, again, buy from the people they trust. So that's why these guys keep growing, and the people with no brand, they don't. Now, the second reason why branding is the king is that branding attracts top-tier talent. Now, in a company, in order for us all to be able to grow, I mean, our team, right now, we have a team of 17. The only reason we're in the position to be able to help these kind of companies is because of my team. My business partner and I can't do everything for everybody, right? That's impossible. So you need top tier talent. Now, if you have a good brand and you've built that trust with the community, you most likely have also built trust with top tier talent. And so they want to work with you. They have that craving to actually be a part of your team. Now, what does that mean for you if you have top tier talent on your team? It means that you're essentially going to be growing more, right? It's as simple as that. If you have top tier sales talent, that means they're going to be more hungry, which means they go out there, they close more deals, they help more people, and ultimately your company grows more. If you have a killer marketing team, for example, what they're going to do for you is they're going to continue to provide a high level of service, which means ultimately your salespeople get more booked appointments, which in turn is more work for you and the company grows. So when you have amazing branding, you create a need for people to want to work with you. And so that as a result is essentially going to be the biggest driver for the growth of the company. A lot of people don't realize that. Roofers, here's the thing. A-tier talents, they want to be associated with winning companies. And so that's the reality. Now, the third and fourth reason, I'm going to kind of combine these two together, of why branding is really a superior strategy to everything else is branding actually increases lead conversion onto your, whether it's your website, your marketing, etc. And at the same time, it lowers your cost to acquire customer. So what do I mean by these two? Two companies can run the exact same ad, all right? It could be the exact same thing. But the difference is, if you have one company with good branding and then one company with no branding, like they don't have any Google reviews, nothing exists, nobody knows them, well, the company with the better branding is always going to be king, right? They're always going to be on top, and they're going to get more customers attracted towards them. I see this all the time with clients. The reality is the guys that have better branding, more Google reviews, more customer testimonials, always end up having literally like lower cost for qualified appointments. And so to the fourth point being like, it literally lowers your cost to acquire a customer, it's because you're getting these cheaper conversions, you're getting more people attracted to your company. Now you have more room to play with, right? You have more conversions. And so the better your brand is, the better your odds of actually getting lower costs for your marketing. Let me give you an example with some of the famous guys in the industry. I'll just use Grant Cardone. Think about it. If he ran an ad, because everybody knows who he is, right? Literally, the majority of people know who he is. So because everybody knows who he is, they will just click, right? So his conversions are extremely low in terms of cost. So it's easier for him to market. So not only does it essentially increase your lead conversion, and not only does it decrease your lead costs, but it also puts you at an advantage over everybody else, right? You start to, again, the better your brand gets, you start to take more of the market. You essentially become this like monster everybody's afraid of, which is funny, but it's true. Now, here's the fifth point, which also ties back to the number 3 and 4. So anytime you have a good brand, what you're doing is you're increasing your odds to have more people to work with you, which ultimately means you're increasing your odds to get more referrals and word of mouth customers. Okay? So now not only are you having more customers, and not only is your marketing cheaper, but also now you have another channel added on, which is you're getting a ton of referrals. Okay? So word of mouth goes around, people start to know you more, your branding gets better. It's all a ripple effect. This is why you want to focus on your branding as a newer company. You want to get those customer reviews. You want to get those testimonials. You want to make yourself known in the industry because then you continue to grow. So these $40 to $50 million companies that I talk about, oftentimes what they do is they do all these things, all these great things in the community, and then they end up getting half of their business being referrals on top of the marketing they're doing. So year over year, it becomes easier for them to grow. When you have a polished brand, such as these $40 to $50 million companies do have, friends and family, they feel more confident to actually refer you to their friends, to their family. And so ultimately, you make more money. And then again, going back onto the ripple effect point, now you're having an easier time closing deals, right? So not only, again, it's the whole thing, right? There's a whole circle, it's a whole wheelhouse. You're getting more booked appointments at cheaper costs. You're having more referrals, so getting more work. And then the jobs become easier to close because your branding is amazing. And then it just keeps going and going and going. Company keeps growing, right? And then all you really need to do is keep pouring money into the marketing channel, which then feeds everything else. Pretty cool, huh? So now let's talk about point number 6. This one is a little bit under the radar. Not a lot of people can pick this one out right away. But really what having a good brand does is that it positions you as the market leader, okay? Think about companies like Apple, all right? Think about Microsoft, Samsung, whatever. These companies, the reason they're so successful is because everybody knows them, everybody sees them everywhere, especially Apple. Everybody sees them everywhere. So then automatically in their brain, they're associating that brand with it being super high quality, and it being good, because if you see them everywhere, there must be something, right? There must be worth something. And a lot of the times when I've talked to clients and potential prospects in our company, they see us all the time and they're like, dude, I've been seeing your ads for like 5-6 months. You guys must know what you're doing. And they say this because that's a subconscious association. So a company like Apple, let's say, because of their amazing branding, if they're always doing ads and everybody knows them, people are going to think, well, this guy must actually know something. This company must be good, right? Same thing with the roofing analogy. So if your roofing company is everywhere, everybody knows you, everybody's seeing your marketing, and you're essentially all over the market, the person who needs a roof, they're going to think, well, these guys probably know what they're doing, right? And they will ultimately give you a shot to replace their roof. Now, if you close them or not, that's up to you, right? But again, you will have a higher chance of actually closing that customer. I'll give you a personal example. When I was trying to get my roof done, I wasn't necessarily looking for the cheapest company, but there's this one company where I live that everybody knows. It's like the biggest company in my city. Now, I had a conversation with this company. I ended up not going with them because their price was like crazy high. But at the same time, like I still thought to myself, I did give them a chance. So it is increasing your odds to get in front of pretty much everybody who needs a roof if you have a better brand, which again means more sales. Last point I really want to make, which does tie into everything else I've been talking about, is that these companies with great brands, the $40 to $50 million companies, a lot of them are, protecting their margins and their revenue year over year. What do I mean by this? Companies with a strong brand can charge premium prices without pushback. At the same time, having a strong brand decommoditizes your business, your roofing business. So like I was saying earlier, if you have two companies, one with no brand, one with a brand, how should the homeowner know who they should go with? Well, usually the one with the better brand is the one they pick, because ultimately in their head they're associating that with the better company, right? And so what that does is it gives you an advantage over everybody else. It puts you at an edge, which means you don't have to be stressed about your revenue constantly. You don't have to be worried, oh, am I going to hit my targets next year? And at the same time, when I was talking about margins, these companies that are running $40 to $50 million a year, they're running with crazy overhead, which at the same time means they need to have healthy margins to continue to grow. And so if you're able to charge more, if you're able to be known in the industry and everybody knows you and they want to work with you, at the same time, what that means is, well, you can charge more, so better margins. So again, not only are these $40 to $50 million companies in revenue, but they're making really healthy profit margins. And it's all because of their branding. I'll give you an example. I've talked to people who run 6, 10, 15, even up to $30 million in revenue in a year. But then you ask them their net margins and they're running like 5 to 6%, right? Sometimes I've heard 4%. And why is that? It's because, well, they're just underselling themselves to keep selling roofs just to get the revenue number up, but that doesn't mean anything if you're not actually making any money. So that's another thing you have to remember is like, it's not just about the revenue, it's also about the profit margins. So that's why if you have strong branding, you can keep your revenue high with high profit margins. And ultimately, those are my 7 reasons of why I believe branding is seriously the most powerful thing you can do in 2025 to get yourself from the position you're in right now to a position where you're making more money and ultimately getting to where you want to be with your goals. I hope this video was valuable. I hope that was convincing enough so that you go start a strong brand. And if you need our help making your brand better and doing some marketing, well, hit us up. If not, no problem. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get the notification for my next video. And this has been Manny, and I'll see you in the next one.